It was a month that saw everything from me reading a YA book and then hell freezing over and shutting down the city of Houston. Let's talk about February. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up as we're moving through February and starting March. Time to wrap up the month of February. Like I said, it is a month that saw a lot of crazy things, like Snowball's Chance in Hell in Houston. Well, we got to see that. We actually got snow in Houston, and you think that that's no big deal, right? But then, it kind of power outages and it shut down the whole city, and it was just a fun month, trying to see what it's like without power. I said what's really cool is that books don't require power, but what does require power is entertaining your children long enough for you to be able to push them off and then go read stuff. So I had a little delay in a couple of things, but still a very productive month overall. Let's talk about it. Let's begin, like usual, talk about what I read in February. I read 6 books. I DNF'd one. Let's start with that. I DNF'd the Skull Throne. That's Demon Cycle number 4 by Peter V. Brecht. You can go back and just check out that weekly update if you want to know why. If you've read it, you probably know the answer to that. And then there's another one that I'm working in right now. That's the book number 2 of the Malazan read-along. That is a Deadhouse Gates. I'm not done with that yet. About 3/4 of the way as of recording this. So those two I'm not going to count on this. But the ones that I did read, The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. You guys know I'm a huge Michael Crichton honk. And kind of under the radar kind of channel read-along there of Michael Crichton as we're kind of going one book per month of his over the next year and a half. That's not quite as widely publicized as the Malazan one because I know fantasy gets a lot more people's attention on this channel than something like Michael Crichton does. But I feel like it's a really good palate cleanser for those people who are looking for that. And Andromeda Strain is a really good start. You think about when he wrote that, 27 years old, on the side, while he was getting his doctorate at Harvard University. Yes, the guy was a genius. I reread The Last Command, that is Star Wars, by Timothy Zahn, what I will forever consider the actual true canon sequel to the original Star Wars trilogy. That's a conversation I know always opens up a fun can of worms, but it's so good, and for so many years that was what I did consider the actual, sequel to that story, and it was canon for like 20 years, so it's something that has aged rather fine. It's a really great ending to a great setup that Timothy Zahn did, and I think it's a point where I said I don't feel like anyone knows Star Wars better than maybe Dave Filoni when it comes to Timothy Zahn as to George Lucas, who really understands that universe really well. Zahn has always been that guy. Continued reading Realm of the Elderlings with Robin Hobb, and this was Royal Assassin. I didn't like it as much as Assassin's Apprentice, but I liked it almost as much, which is a very good thing. A story that continues to get better, introduced a really fun character. You might have heard of him, Night Eyes. Again, guys, I can't say enough about Robin Hobb's writing style. I don't feel like this is something that people talk about enough. I always hear about all these prose masters, and now that I brought it up, everybody's like, oh yeah, Robin Hobb is one of the best. I was saying, I never heard that before I started reviewing the books. No one ever seemed to mention Robin Hobb's writings, and that's great. I mean, she could describe this coffee mug to me, and I'd be having a blast just listening to her because, yeah, what I kind of said in our Zoom call with the patrons this month is I said, you know how you look up a recipe online and they have like the 6 paragraphs before you get to the recipe that you actually are there for? And you always are like, God, man, and you just skip all that. With Robin Hobb, I'd actually read that because she'd find a way to make it beautiful. She's that good at what she does. Then you got the YA book. And a lot of people are asking, YA? Well, more like, why, Mike? Why are you doing this? Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. I was interested in the Netflix adaptation. I know I'm not the target demographic. It's called an experiment, if you will. So I said, you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and read these. Maybe I put them on my Amazon wish list, and a very sweet viewer, bought them for me. I said, well, the nicest thing I can do for her is to actually read them and talk about them. I decided I'm going to review those as a trilogy when I'm done with it. I only finished the first one right now. I have the usual complaints I do with YA. But guys, like I said, I went this expecting that. I know this was not written for 42-year-old males, but I still think it's fun to read it anyway and see what it's all about. Slowly but surely, I am finishing the Rhaenyra Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. I've read book number 5 in that series, which is Wintertide. And I want you guys to understand, this isn't because it's something I'm not enjoying. Oh, I like this series a lot. And Wintertide just continued to raise the stakes there in what Michael J. Sullivan is actually able to do with just those two main characters, and just continues to make them feel kind of standalone-ish, but connected in a really, really great way. If you guys aren't reading that, I can't sell it enough. Well, I might here in a minute. And then, of course, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll. That's one I wanted to read just because that's my wife's favorite book of all time. And I had never read it before. Read it one day. It's a really short book, obviously. I know it's a children's book, but it's still got all the charm in the world. And it's easy to see why generations later people are still passing that on to their children. Just a timeless story that has just been replicated and parodied so many times. I mean, so much stuff that you can think of. How far down does the rabbit hole go, right? It's definitely earns its reputation, and I had a great time reading it. But I'll say, of all the adaptations, I gotta say that the Disney animated movie's gotten it the closest so far. But let's talk about the book of the month for February. Now, guys, I really don't want to feel like I'm giving Robin Hobb the shaft here, because twice now I think she's going to get beaten out. Last month it was Revival by Stephen King, which I just thought was, it's one of the best books he's wrote in years. It was just fantastic, and I did not expect that. So that's why that one did. This month I've got to go with Wintertide by Michael J. Sullivan. I was so completely surprised by this because, like what I said, I'm trying not to regurgitate everything I said in my weekly update here, but in case you missed that, I feel like Michael J. Sullivan at this point is the best kept secret in modern fantasy. And it feels weird to call him underrated because, the guy's completely crowdsourced. He does not go through Orbit anymore. He left Orbit, started his own thing. Every time he puts out a release, he will put up a Kickstarter, and he meets those Kickstarter goals in like 4 hours. He exceeds the goals. And so he just independently has been releasing these books. And I like I said, I can't call him underrated because obviously he's got a huge fan base, but I don't hear anybody really. It's weird. I hear people talk about Rhaenyra, and you think no one ever says anything bad about it. But I don't ever feel like anybody's really selling them to you very good. And I just gotta say, man, it's just so refreshing that he's writing traditional fantasy, and you feel like it's not anything that no one's ever done before. He just does it really good. So if you guys haven't picked up Michael J. Sullivan yet, please do. Rhaenyra Revelations. He sells the books directly on his website, and he will sign them and ship them to you. It's going to be a little higher than it would charge you to be like on Amazon, but again, they're signed, and you're cutting out the middleman. You're giving the author most stuff. And the really cool thing about Sully, that's why I call him, because we're like this. You email him just to ask him something about the books, and he'll email you back. He's just that personable of an author. He really loves to engage with his audience. So I would say if you have a few bucks extra and you want to get those books, please check out his website and buy them directly from there because they are just phenomenal. He is a swell guy, and I would love to see him just be a household name with modern fantasy fans at this point. But that was the month of February, what I read. Let's talk about some channel growth. It's finally happened, guys. We are finally hitting that ceiling. It's finally happening. It's one of those things. I got that bump in October due to that top 10 horror novels video that somehow went viral. It's actually over 100,000 views now. And they got me a lot of new eyes on the channel, got me a lot of new subs. I knew that the spike in subscriber count was never going to last to where it was. But in January and February, I've seen a really downward trend in growth. And data doesn't lie, guys. It's one of those things where I feel like, okay, I think I'm finally hitting that ceiling for the channel that I've been predicting for a while now. I said I thought 35 or 40 was the ceiling for the channel. We've crossed 40,000 this month, but literally, guys, it's down to like 15 or 20 new subs per day. So I'm not expecting another big bounce anytime soon. But look, I want you guys to look me in the eyes here. I'm not upset about that. I am so proud of the community that we have built here and the people that I've met from doing this. This isn't a job for me, like I always say, guys. This is just a hobby. So, I'm goal-oriented, and I like to see growth and things like that. But again, if this is where the channel peaks, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the community that I have. The viewers I have been absolutely awesome, and I love making content for you guys. It keeps it fun. That's why I still haven't taken a sponsor on this channel, because I want to keep it about the audience, what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to hear me talk about. And I love just having that small. I mean, look, 40,000 subs is not anything to sneeze at, I don't think. I know there's lots of channels out there that would love to have 15 or 20 new subs per day. I get that. I'm not trying to complain about that. I'm just saying that I'm not upset that it seems like the growth is finally starting to die. It seems like we're finally reaching that point. But if you told me, when I first started this, yeah, you're going to hit 40,000 subscribers, I would have took it in a heartbeat without even ever looking back. So I'm okay with that, but I do talk about a quick couple of things here. 1,701 new subs in February. That is the lowest since February of last year. So many people would say, well, maybe February is just a historically bad month. The difference is back then you could look at the trend and you could see the trend of the channel was going up. It's going down. It's been going down since November. It's expected. It was going to be expected after that bounce, but the fact that it's so low below the norms for the channel makes me think, okay, we are finally hitting that ceiling, guys, and it's fine. 247,000 views. That is the lowest since October, because Fright Fest, as much as I love doing it, kind of a flop when you look at it that way. And again, 37,000 hours of watch time, also the lowest on the channel since Fright Fest. So yeah, October wasn't friendly, and that's why I won't be doing another Fright Fest. I'll be doing lots of horror in October, but it won't be just horror like last time. But yeah, data trends don't lie, guys. I really think that the lifetime peak for this channel is 50,000. I think that's, if we get to 50,000, that will be about what I expect. And I've said that for months now, that I said 35 or 40, and the absolute peak would be 50. Again, I'm just going off data. I am a numbers cruncher. I look at these things, I look at trend lines, and data doesn't lie, so I'm okay with it. Again, I love you guys that I have here that are watching this right now. I appreciate you. And if you just climbed on last week, hey, I'm happy to have you here as well. We got an awesome community. The conversation never stops in the comments. The conversation in the Discord is as robust as ever and only getting higher and higher every day. So I set out to start a really good positive community, and I feel like I've done that. So mission accomplished, no matter what happens from here. Let's talk about some of the most popular content for the month. You know it was a slow month when your book haul is your top video. 11,000 views, my book haul from January, which was a big old daddy. And I'm here to tell you February is going to be no different, guys, because you all continue to be super awesome to me and keep sending me stuff, so much so that I'm going to have to buy another shelf again, because I'm starting to stack books because I don't have any room back there. So these are good problems to have. These are really good problems to have, and I'm very, very grateful for you guys. So I never, ever get tired of talking book hauls, because I know people love to see some of those covers and size and things like that, because they want everything to match, and I get that. Books that made me cry hit 9,000 views. That was one I was actually kind of iffy about making because I wasn't really sure. When I put it together, I was like, man, you're just a big old crybaby, Mike. I didn't think the number would be this high. And I'm not going to lie, I left some off, guys. So, yes, once you become a dad, you get really, really sensitive to just about anything. You really, really do. So, yeah, I actually was surprised a lot of the conversation I got off of there, and a lot of the things I had never even heard of that really, really got to people. One of my wife even actually brought up. In fact, she bought me a book this month that I'll show you in the book haul, based off of that Books That Made Me Cry video, because it was one that she has that I had never read before. I've actually heard a lot about it, but Flowers for Algernon is one apparently I got to read, because just about everyone said that one. So yeah, lots of fun conversation. I'm glad that people were honest in there. I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of proving that you have feelings, guys. That's fine. And if you haven't, that's fine too. I mean, you might be dead inside if where the red fern grows doesn't make you cry, but hey, it is what it is. Assassin's Apprentice, 7,000 views. Again, I really enjoy talking about Robin Hobb. The interest in that is what made me decide, hey, I'm going to leave it up to you guys if you want me to continue doing every single Hobb book along the way. And it was a resounding yes. People want me to continue doing every single Realm of the Elderlings book that I read. So, hey, that's awesome. That's what you guys want. That's what I'll do. Again, I like to give the people what they want, and they seem to want more Robin Hobb. And I'll be starting Assassin's Quest here as soon as there's a couple of books I got ahead of that, but I will be doing Assassin's Quest, wrapping up Farseer in March. Then one of my off the books ones got up there with 6,000 views. This is my top 10 video games of all time. And good guys, that's encouraging to me because I love to. I'm always going to stay on brand. I know I preach that. Don't worry, I'm not going to do that. But I wouldn't mind doing one off the books a month. I think that'd be a lot of fun because there's so many things outside of books that I wouldn't mind talking to you guys about. So if you guys are interested in that, I would love to keep doing off the books. I think I've done that. I've done top horror movies, and I've done my top science fiction television shows up to this point. So I've only done 3. But yeah, that video games one was tough because it's one of those things you think, oh, this shouldn't be that hard. And when I started conceiving of it, I just started writing down games that I would consider on my top 10 ever, and I was at like 50 just off the top of my head, and I was like, oh shit, I got to narrow this down to 10. So it was very, very tough, but I thought I was fair. I had a good mix of all generations, all types of games and stuff like that. But yeah, not as much. I can't believe you didn't have this on here as I expected, but mostly fun conversation, and there's a lot of Zelda honks out there like me, and so I appreciated seeing that. And then with the 6,000 views, also my favorite A Song of Ice and Fire character. So fun to talk A Song of Ice and Fire on the channel without griping about the television show. It was such a good time, and it was one of those things that just, it kind of opened fresh wounds for me because I had finally, those wounds had finally healed to accepting that we were never going to get the rest of that series written by Mr. George R. R. Martin, and it just kind of opened it back up about how badly I would still love to see it happen, though, because I miss those literary versions of those characters quite a bit. And I think people have said my enthusiasm in that video was just, you could tell that I was really missing that universe. But that was everything that you guys liked watching the most. One that I just put out the other day that didn't quite do that, that hit 5,000 views already. That's Why You Should Read Harry Potter. I always love doing the Why You Should Read segments because I always feel like they get at least a couple of people to try out something new. You know, I think back to like my Why You Should Read Red Rising, or Why You Should Read Dark Tower, or Dune, and it got so many people to give the series a try, and now they love those series to death. So I don't think that I'm convincing anyone to read Harry Potter because I think everyone's read it already. But it's fun to talk about. Sharing that with my kid right now it just kind of reopened my love for that series, and why I still find it important, and why I think that its legacy is going to live on far past all of everybody watching right now's lifespan. That series is going to outlive all of us with how it stays within the pop culture, because it's just kind of a timeless series that I feel like will age like a Narnia or an Alice in Wonderland, something like that. Something that people will be handing down to their kids for generations. So it was really fun to talk about that. Let's talk about a couple of goals here before I go. Again, I'm not doing any of the subscriber goals or anything like that because we've already met all that stuff that I've wanted to hit. But same as usual, I just want to keep up the channel engagement. Love talking with you guys. I feel like I've found that work-life YouTube balance now since I've returned to work in January. And it was really jarring those first couple of weeks because, just getting back into a commute and working 9-hour days, you weren't exactly feeling like coming home and talking on camera. But I feel like I found a good balance now. And I feel like I actually have enough hours in the day to do everything that I want to do. So yeah, continuing engagement with you guys. I know I'm not able to engage in the comments as much as I used to. Same with the Discord, just because, I do have a large chunk of my day now that is committed to other things. But I feel like the community is big enough now that you guys don't need me to do that. And the community, you guys can talk amongst yourselves and you guys carry on the conversation just wonderfully. That's what I love about the Discord. We're going to hit 5,000 here sometime. That's a big goal right there, hitting 5,000 users on the Discord. And there's people organizing buddy reads and read-alongs and stuff on there completely on their own. They're hosting Zoom calls and stuff. It's just awesome. It's exactly the community that I was going for when I started this. So I'm very proud of that Discord. If you guys want to hop on, the link is in the description below. I call it the least toxic place on the internet because, like I said, there's almost 5,000 of us and no one fights, no one argues. Everyone is just super awesome, and it's just a great time. It's basically what I always wanted Twitter to be. Yeah, but yeah, then I'm just going to continue the Malazan content on the channel. I'm excited to get back into Malazan. Did my first spoiler talk yesterday. It is a lot of fun stuff to talk about with Deadhouse Gates because it's a real divisive book. I felt like Gardens of the Moon, people went into it expecting one thing and that's what they got. with Deadhouse Gates, I think they were expecting something and they're getting something completely different. And so it's a lot of fun conversation there. But yeah, just talking about Malazan again, trying to make sure that enough people stay engaged to stay along on this read along, because we've lost some. I knew we'd lose some along the way, but lots more are still doing it. And guys, if you jump on the Discord, you'll get all the help that you need if you're struggling with Malazan, and I'd love to help you out there personally. So hop on and talk to us. So guys, February, what did you read? What was your favorite book of the month? Drop in the comments and let me know, and have yourselves an awesome March.